can I first say, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mo. Dear Mo, we love you as a Raptors fan. Happy belated birthday to you. This one's for you. I hope you
Nice.
enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed it. So let's get the formality out of the way right now. Okay. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in on To The Point and the Raptors Freak. I'm King from To The Point. You guys see all the gear, right? Tell me you don't know who I am. Find us Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it is, TikTok. So YouTube, which is hopefully where you're watching us, go down there, click subscribe, click like, leave a comment, especially right there for my man, the Raptors Freak, the lyrical Leviathan Lex. He's there for you every morning, 9:30.
9:30 a.m.
Maybe a little bit later sometimes. I saw that. But he's right there and he will answer every single one of your questions when you leave it in the chat. I guarantee that. I put a stamp on that. Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, not seven. I guarantee that. Maybe not that guy. Okay? Lex, how you doing tonight, brother? I know
I'm
it's
good,
been a
man.
long
Brian,
one.
thanks once again for having me on for another reaction for Finals Game 2 tonight. Oklahoma City even up the series against Indiana, man. What a fantastic game in some ways. Very interesting game. How are you feeling about it, my guy?
Well, that's what I wanted to get into asking you about. Like, I called it. I told a couple
Yeah.
people today who were asking me, who do I bet on today? I'm like, you're betting on OKC. They're going to make the adjustments. Trust me on that one. But the overview of the game, I wanted to ask you because we both watched it, right?
Yeah.
Not together because he's all the way up there and I'm all the way downtown, right?
Yeah.
But what was your overall thought of the game as a total with this game 2 of the NBA Finals?
This game was interesting because this game was about the supporting cast. Like, in some ways, both of the marquee names on both sides were not doing things on a major level. Although, I will say this, SGA got his by the end of the game, and he was chipping in here and there. But in some ways, early on, I was like, man, Shea's not playing exactly on right now. And it was other people like early on, Chet Holmgren helping Oklahoma City early, then Caruso in the middle. And then later on, Aaron Wiggins, absolutely huge in the game. I think it was about supporting cast tonight. And this thing was that Haliburton, like they said, the announcers said during the game, he waited too long to insert himself into the equation for the game.
Doris Burke said that.
Yeah, and I feel like that's so true because in some ways, even if he's not shooting shots or making shots, he's got to be setting people up or doing other things. And it seemed like there was too much time where he was kind of not in playing in the game mode. But it was an interesting game. There was still the intrigue of like Indiana, can they do it again at any time? You know, you're watching it right up until the end. And, you know, I know the Thunder coach wasn't like, he was respecting that, honestly. Yep. But it was fun to see people come in late, like James Johnson. And James Johnson getting a basket. That was fun to see. But yeah, there was a lot of people on the Pacers side that did not play at a high level. I mean, Siakam was good on defense and offensive rebounding, but in some ways he did not shoot well tonight. And but he did a good job of getting to the line. And yeah, Haliburton just showed up in the fourth quarter. He's the leading scorer for the Pacers. But a lot of those points that he scored tonight were when the game was already out of hand in the wrong way.
Yeah, it was done. We see,
no pressure.
Here's the thing. My overall takeaway from the game, from a coach's standpoint, right, is while I was watching it, Indiana was at the beginning, like both teams shot the same amount of three-pointers, right? And you know I'm not too much of a fan of like too many three-pointers in a game, right? I like to see the game played itself and develop within itself, within the strengths and the weaknesses of different players. I'm saying this as a coach, right? I think Indiana was a little too aggressive on the three-pointers. Like their first three-pointer came from Spicy P, right? Mm-hmm. Then he was quiet. But everybody, the way I saw the spacing on the floor is everybody was around the three-point line behind the arc, right? And everyone was looking for that shot when it came to Indiana. They could have been a lot closer if they played the game and played the style the way they were playing the last game prior to this one, when you had Pascal taking advantage, right, over whoever's guarding him, right?
Yeah.
Because he's the dark horse in this whole series, right? He's the X factor, whether anybody
yeah.
likes to say it or not. I did like to see. Speaking of the players, I wanted to ask you about this. You just touched on it, but I want to go a little further in. Like, I see Mathurin, right?
Yeah.
I see. I liked what I saw from him, right? Miles Turner was busting his ass.
Yeah,
right?
he was. He
Right?
was. He was really playing hard.
He was doing little intangibles.
Yep.
On OKC, yeah, like you said earlier, like you alluded to, Shy got his, right? Okay,
By
cool.
the end, he did. It seemed like he was having a bad game, but by the end, he got his numbers. It's crazy.
Wait, hold up. Chet.
Yeah, early on.
Chet finally bounced back, right? He scored more points in the first quarter than he did all last game, right?
Right.
And then you had the guy called Frankenstein, and then you had Elmer Fudd. Sorry, Alex
Elmer Fudd. Caruso,
right? You had them stepping up. So like you said earlier, it was really about the supporting cast. Now, like people have said about Indiana and OKC over the course of the season, right? That's a team when you play them, you're playing all 12 guys. You're not just playing the starters. They're not watered down with like big contracts in the starting five and nobody on the bench. No, you're getting these guys coming in, putting a little bit of quality. Now, I wanted you to go a little bit more in depth as to which players that you saw. Like, who would you give? I know you do this. And guys, watch Raptors Freak. Watch Raptors Freak during the Raptors games because he always has the top 3 players on every game. So, Lex, give me your top 3 tonight, buddy.
Well, I mean, I'm really impressed with how Gilgeous-Alexander got to his numbers in a game where it seemed like he wasn't getting to them. Like, I didn't think he was playing well in the first half, but at the end of the game, he has 34. And the other thing is really big thing about what he did tonight was 4 steals. That one steal he got on Nebhard where he just yoinked, or from Haliburton where he just yoinked it.
Yeah, right.
Like that stuff is amazing, man. That stuff was so good, but I really didn't feel like Jalen Williams shot that well. But if I'm picking somebody else, I have to go with Aaron Wiggins, man. He was so huge in the second half when it possibly would have been when the Pacers would do their dramatic comeback. That Wiggins pouring on more threes.
Yeah, when they were down
around
15.
in the middle of the second half, that was so key. So I'd give him the second star. And you know what? Caruso was really solid tonight too. With 20 points, 4 of 8 from 3. So he shot really solid. So I'd say those 3 guys, SGA, Wiggins, and my guy Caruso for the 3 stars of the game, as far as I'm concerned. On the other side, I say Obi Toppin let that team down. The man was 1 for 8 tonight and was not hitting his shot. But, you know, he shot so well in the first game. You got to give these guys a pass. You know, that's the thing about it. You're going to live by the 3. You die by the 3 on certain nights.
Yep.
And, you know, that's just how it goes. So, but yeah, Toppin really was not effective for them tonight. Thomas Bryant came in. He played some strong minutes. But he could have helped in some ways too. You know, they just couldn't get the 3-point shots to go down at times when they really needed them to. You know,
that's what I mean. You can look, people out there, they can look at the box score and be like, oh, they same amount of 3-pointers. Yeah, but it was the timing of it, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, look at the last game when Lou Dort, he missed a couple, but then he hit 3 in a row that were big, right?
Yeah.
Right, to propel them. The question I wanted to ask you too is our boy, Spicy P, right? Do you think he was underutilized this game?
Yeah.
Really?
It was interesting. You know, a lot of people are saying that we don't run the offense through Siakam, right? Mm-hmm. But honestly, they they started the second half with him handling the ball because they realized in the first half they were not getting any interior like paint touches. So in the second half, the Pacers came out, concerted effort to get some insertion to there. And Siakam was the guy who kind of was the ringleader at the beginning of the second half to try and do that. But this is the thing that's scary for the Pacers right now. On the Thunder, I figured out tonight that size is going to beat the Pacers. And they put that double big lineup in there with Hartenstein and Holmgren. That was a dangerous thing. I don't understand why wouldn't they just think of this as like, we put the two big guys out there. We can out-rebound them. We can stop them defensively from getting into the paint. And I think that this may be where this series gets bust open right here, because if the Thunder just continue to do this kind of stuff, they'll just run right through the rest of the series. That's the thing, man. Carlisle's going to have he's going to have another adjustment for them going big. That will be the only thing that saves his Indy if they do that. Man.
What did I say on our last video for game 1? The Thunder came out gunning and running because they had a smaller lineup, but they should have had a bigger lineup because Pascal was eating their food, and so was Miles Turner. Now it was even. Now we really get to see what it is, right? And when you think from the coaching and the adjustments that have been made, and now that the series is knotted at 1-1, before we get out of here, who do you got for the next game? Who do you think is going to take that next step this game? You think OKC's going to hold it, or Indy's going to still be the underdog and come up on top?
This is the thing. Indiana, they stole one in Oklahoma City already, so they're leading this series right now. We have to remember this, even though Oklahoma City won tonight,
and they didn't beat them by
a good. The thing is, they're going to have home court in Indiana. That crowd is going to be great for them, and hopefully their shots will be going in better at home than they are on the road. So I think that it won't be a blowout in any kind of way. I think this is going to be another nail biter, and it's really going to be at the end of the game which one of these guys, probably a Canadian guy, maybe named SGA or Nebhard, is going to hit a huge clutch shot. Maybe it's Haliburton, who knows, that's going to win the game right at the end. Because I don't think this next game is going to be a blowout by any means. The home court advantage will help Indy, but the things that we just talked about with the adjustments that Dagnall can do with the two bigs, it's going to be an interesting game. And I want to see what Carlisle does to figure this out, because they did show a little flash of something that could be a serious problem for the Pacers going forward in the finals here.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, for the next game, I'm excited to see the adjustments on what's going to happen. I think Carlisle, I don't think he's going to get to sleep until the end of the next game. Knowing him and his pedigree, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of tape run through to the players. I don't even think they're going to get to sleep. They might get their rest and their breakfast, but they ask going to get to work, right? I think the key, so for me, the keys for OKC to win is have those bigs, okay? Attack the paint. Let Shai be what they call a free throw merchant, right?
Yeah.
Let him do that.
Which he did a good job tonight.
Yes. Let Lou Dort do his thing, right? Let those guys control the turnovers, right? Create more turnovers for themselves. I think on the opposite end,
that's a good point, man. You know, tonight that home court advantage was really hectic for the Pacers, and that was a huge factor in what happened with the Pacers tonight. Was that the aggressiveness of Dort and Caruso and Wiggins and all them everywhere, and then the crowd, it really threw the Pacers off their composure, which was different in the first game. The first game they played through that, but this time it was almost like the crowd got the memo and showed up this time and actually acted like it was the finals after game 1. Sorry to cut you off, Brian.
Okay, so on the opposite end, there's a flip side to that coin. In order for Indiana to become successful, what I see Indiana need to do is they really need to get Haliburton involved in the passing game early, right? Get the other guys set up. Pascal, they need to unleash Pascal. Take him off the leash, man. We've seen what he could do here in Toronto, right? And on a younger guy, on a smaller guy, with the mismatch, Pascal can definitely take advantage of that. That could be your go-to play, right?
Yeah.
In case there's nothing working, right? Instead of having him standing, I was just so disappointed. So many times I just see him standing in the corner, waiting for a three, and I'm like, put him in the post. Get him in there. Indiana needs that. They also need to control their turnovers, and by controlling their turnovers is slowing down their game, right? They're trying to run a little too fast. If I was a coach, I'd be calling timeout and giving them bloody blue hell. Okay. In that case, blue and yellow hell. But they need to control that. Their offensive rebounding is pretty good, from what I've noticed. Right. I like it. Right. They're very aggressive. But
Siakam too.
that's when. But see, that's the thing. That's when, from a coach's standpoint, that's when they don't have all five guys behind the arc. That's when they got a one or two down there to battle for the boards. That's all I got to say for coming up for the next game. Before we get out of here, my man.
Yeah, man.
Last words. I'm not putting you to rest, but I'm just saying last words.
I would just say this. The Pacers are a smart team. They're going to have to really, really think about what they saw tonight. In some ways, Haliburton can't get complacent. He needs to arrive to the game and show up after a jump ball. And I agree with you. I think that if they gave the ball to Pascal more in certain ways, that'd be better. The first half tonight, he was like water through the cracks a couple times.
He only hit 2 shots.
Him. But then it went away for the rest of the game. And I think that was something that, possibly the Pacers should have got going. It really was other guys that had to step up and do stuff for them. Nesmith, McConnell, people like that. But in some ways, it's like the guys that are main guys for Pacers, they were kind of quiet tonight in some ways. Haliburton, the leading scorer, but quiet. Pascal and Nebhard, not really big games by either of those guys, any of those guys. They need people to step up because the Thunder are going to get points no matter what. We know that. They're going to get points somewhere, and they got to match them in scoring. So the team that shot the best won tonight. So
that's true. It. That's true. They both put up the same amount of field goals. So, Lex, I love this. I'm loving this. Raptors freak. To the point.
Yeah, man.
Here for you guys. We're up late at night, man. Oh, Lord. Arturis, it's what? It's what? 6 in the morning for you? 6:30 in the morning? Oh, man. You got some work to do when you get up, buddy.
Arturis is the best, man. You're awesome, man. Thanks you for all you do, man.
Yeah, no doubt. And thank you, Monique. We all out here love you.
Happy birthday, Mo.
Happy belated birthday. Sorry I couldn't make your party. All right, but just know we're sending all our love to you. All right, and we'll talk to you soon. So on behalf of myself, Arturis, the lyrical Leviathan Lex, Raptors Freak, the Raptors Freak Nation, the RFF, the To The Point people, To The Point family. And if you're watching, we're considering you family or a freak. Sorry, no Rick James jokes. So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night.